have to say, I rather like the way this game implemented its credits. I mean, obviously it was just recap of cutscenes, but it kind of worked. And you don't need to see the later ones because we just did them. But there's something else. We're not quite done. We did wash ashore somewhere. We're playing. And check what happens if I press the fall button. Can't even hear me from this distance. Let's check it out. Even at the end, the game conveys a vast sense of scale. Or should I say a sense of vastness? Camera still pans to the left. Let's continue to check. This keeps going, doesn't it? But do you see that? We're zooming back in. Let's do it. What can I say? What a gorgeous game. Welcome back, everyone. Remember this area? Most secret place in the game? This is on a second playthrough. I loaded my saved, completed file, started a new game, went all the way through. Already I've noticed that the enemies have, have different, have more HP, it seems. But in addition, on a second playthrough, you can actually understand the strange language that, Yorda and the Queen speak. So if you want to understand what that was, then go ahead and play a second time. It does take away a bit of the mystique of the game, because you don't really need to know what they were saying, but it's still cool. But then there's this. The sort of, I think it's called the Shining Sword, but seriously, it's a damn lightsaber. You must have beaten the game to get this, and you must have gotten the mace on that playthrough. So you had to have beaten the game with the secret in order to go through a second time with this secret. Short weapon. However, it will kill in not 2 hits, but 1 hit. And there's a bonus. See this pathetic range? Check this out. Yeah. You can argue that Yorda has, like, that power within her, so if you hold her hand, suddenly this is by far the craziest thing in the goddamn game. By far. It has the same power as the end game sword, so that's just really cool to have. Thought you'd like to see it. After this, I have one more thing I want to show you. Welcome back, everyone. Beat the game again. There's a certain something you can get at the very end of the game, the beach setting. If you beat the game a second time, I just need to find it. Hopefully it's around here somewhere. Hopefully I don't look like a fool searching for hours. I would assume that the thing should be in a grassy area. Watermelons. I do not believe that these were in the first playthrough, as the Shining Sword was not. Now I'm gonna lug this bad boy all the way down to Yorda. I do believe we'll see a certain something a little bit different from the first time. Oh, and by the way, I may or may not have beaten the game the second time in under 4 hours, and I did it without any deaths. I haven't played this game in a very long time, you see. That's why I was screwing up during the Let's Play. It's amazing what difference you can make when you're not concentrating on watching the cutscenes, and in fact can skip them, and also are not concentrating on commentary. And the one-hit kill weapon was pretty good, too. Turns out the really big creatures, though, could take 2 hits, but semantics. Here we are. Let us see what happens. How weird. Just chill out. Eat a watermelon. Sure. It's a very minor little addition, but that's kind of nice. The game gives you credit for beating it twice. Split the watermelon. Yeah, it's sort of a secret ending, I guess. You're supposed to have already received the emotional impact from the first playthrough. Oh, there we go. Under 4 hours. Ah, we had a good time, didn't we? This game's really, really good.
Well, we've done it. We have beaten Ico. And it really was a cool game. Not very long, but then again, when you know the puzzles, the game would not be very long. Its length really comes from first playthroughs, when you have no idea what's going on and you're running back and forth, searching the castle for anything you might have missed, or for how to get Yorda around. If you actually know what to do, it becomes a lot more streamlined, so that's why the Let's Play was as short as it was. Still, it's a very fulfilling experience. As was the case with Shadow of the Colossus, you really get a feel for how big everything is around you. You're a lone person. In this case, you have Yorda, so you are two lone people in this massive environment, and you just sort of have to deal with it. It's rather interesting that there was no real main antagonist until the very end. The Queen showed up, but then vanished for the rest of the game until the last second. In Shadow of the Colossus, you're fighting Colossi 16 times, but in this case, there are the minor shadow enemies, sure, but really, as I said during the Let's Play, it's you in the castle. Now, the reason I did not Let's Play this game years ago, before I did Shadow of the Colossus, is because I did not own it for the PS2. And as it turns out, it actually worked out for the better. What I did not expect when I purchased the HD collection was that it actually contained extra content. You see, the clips that I showed you with the extra new weapon, the not lightsaber, and the extra ending where you're eating watermelons, those were not in the American version of the game. The HD collection added these, but those were originally PAL exclusive, meaning Europe and Australia, so I couldn't have shown you that even if I did go through the game perfectly the first time on the PS2, so it's actually rather fortunate after all. And there are two other things that I did not show you, but there's no need to go through every single clip of this. One of them is that on a New Game Plus, you can actually understand what the Queen and Yorda are saying in their other language. It'll give you regular subtitles for them instead. It was good of the game to not let you know until a second playthrough, so you still have that air of mystery the first time. I rather like that. That was also a PAL-only feature. This next feature, I don't remember if it was PAL-only or not, so I can't say for sure, but I couldn't show you during a Let's Play anyway. But it turns out that with at least the HD collection, I can't speak for the American PS2 version, it's actually two-player compatible. You could have another player play as Yorda, so you can solve the puzzles just a little bit more efficiently. It's kind of cool, it adds another level of interactivity to the game. As for the game itself, really powerful ending. As was the case, I keep comparing it, as was the case with Shadow of the Colossus, it told you a lot by actually telling very little. It's left up to the player to figure out what's happening. Same goes with the, with the sarcophagi at the end, where you notice that all the shadow beings have horns, because they weren't like that before. So it's kind of interesting to see how that works. Perhaps you would have become a shadow being. I really like the way it connects to Shadow of the Colossus. As for how it connects to Shadow of the Colossus, I will not tell you at the end of this Let's Play. It's best for you to watch or play Shadow of the Colossus for yourself. While it turns out that I played Shadow of the Colossus first, because that's the game that I heard of first, and only played Ico second, you do get kind of a better experience seeing Ico first and then seeing Shadow of the Colossus, because the end of the Shadow of the Colossus game gives you a connection to Ico that you're like, oh, so that's how it works. And I guess you also see the brief little shadow people at the very beginning, so that was a nice touch as well. Otherwise, the aesthetic really screams out that this was made by the same developer. Very, very fun game. So I had a lot of fun going through it. I hope you had a lot of fun watching. Thank you all very much for watching, and also special thanks to the people that submitted title cards to me. So in order of submission, and therefore order of appearance, I would like to thank Jack Frost, MeGamer, and Keviak for their awesome work. Thank you very much. So as for the game I'm doing next, I haven't quite thought of it yet. It's kind of up in the air, because I want to get something up with a certain sense of timing, and I question whether I'd be able to fit another Let's Play in before that period comes up. So I'll need to make that decision a little bit later. But otherwise, this was a blast, and I hope you had as much of a blast as I did. Until next time, everyone.